If we want to generate good leads, we need to have that. And we need to make renewal calls because that's when you will find the most intentional cross sells. Gratitude is an attitude.
Yes, I love that. And it also costs us $0 marketing dollars on our marketing budget.
I love $0 marketing items.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Today, I have the amazing Kelly Donahue-Pirro and the diva himself, Steven. Hi. Where are you guys coming to us from today?
Wow. Steven and I are in our sexy shared hotel room here in Warwick, Rhode Island. Our love shack. We had Nicole Badney, our COO, here earlier for a tour and threesome of leadership development here today. So I can't even joke about it.
We're building all the leaders that we need here at APP.
Yes. It just so happened that the blog banters got stuck in a time where I couldn't get out of here in time. So Steven and I are causing tawdry insurance rumors across the landscape.
Well,
Maybe
since I have both of your beautiful brains available, let's talk about generating leads, insurance leads.
Like hot, sticky, sweaty, sultry, just
I love
smoking
generating
hot lead.
leads.
Me too. Hot, sticky, sweaty, ready to bind and give us all their money leads. Those
Price unsensitive, the whole nine.
You know where you find those the easiest?
Where?
Cross-selling.
I love it.
If you
I love
already have a
cross-selling.
relationship with somebody
Yeah.
and just build on that and make it better.
Well, not only that, but they're cheating on you. And if it's, like they got one foot in, one foot with somebody else.
Mhm.
And
And how do I know what they got elsewhere?
that's right. And how do you know you're safe, really?
Right.
in 2023,
If I'm the best and I believe in what I'm selling, shouldn't I want it all?
I think you deserve it all.
I do.
You deserve it all.
I think you do too. And, we really need to be following our principle of 4 and score, right? I've never seen a book of business report where every customer has 4 policies. So
No. And I also think too, let's dive into the weeds. Like, how do we cross sell? So a lot of times cross selling is going to fall just slightly more on the account management team. Every agency is different. I also believe everybody can cross sell. I believe as a producer, you need to be getting that up front.
Mhm.
And, one thing I've always been trouble with, if we can just diverse for a second, I think that agencies really need to think about how to compensate account managers for cross sells. Sometimes it's messy because there's a producer on it and they have a commission strategy. And so it does get gray area. So if you're an account manager out there listening to this, I don't want you to be like, Kelly says we should be compensated on cross sells. I want you to know it's a bigger thing to unpack because if there's a producer involved, it's difficult. I think we need to figure out how to.
And some agencies just factor in a certain amount of compensation for people if they rate X amount of business.
Yeah. And I think that as a producer, you should be wanting the account managers to tee up the opportunities or how it works. Every agency is different. By far, if you want to take our cross-selling course or if you want us to come help you with that through agency assessment, we can help unpack that for you. But I think we got to figure that out. But for most times, like your best opportunity to cross-sell is going to be the point of sale. If we miss that, the next best point is not making inbound service calls transactions, but making them experiences.
Building a relationship.
And asking, while I have you on this call and helping change your vehicle, if I find a coverage weakness or missing discount, would it be okay if I brought that to your attention?
Absolutely. Who's going to say no to that?
Well, one, it reminds us, if we say that every time we condition ourselves, we're going to say at the end, okay, let me just take a quick peek at your policy. They're expecting it. We've gotten their permission, which is really what account managers are striving for. I want their permission. And 2, it reminds us to do it. Just that one simple term could start opening the cross-selling floodgates. But I do want to talk about one other lead generation tip that I think gets overwhelming. I was just out at an agency. The whole account, I was going my cross-selling training. I was like, into it. I'm like cross-selling and they're all just sitting there. You can't, if you're listening to the podcast, you don't understand. It's like
we're making faces.
The literally like
go back and watch the video.
The meh face. And I was like, okay, guys, what's up? Like, we don't have time to cross-sell. And I was like, if I ask Steven, then I'm going to have to quote it. I'm going to have to sell it. I'm going to have to bind it.
And
I'm
then I'm
going
not
to service it. And I was like, okay. And I go, So you guys think every person you talk to is going to automatically buy? Because if that's the case, you're in the wrong seat. You need to be in sales. Sometimes we just need to plant the seeds and let the harvest come in when it's ready. Because if someone calls us and says, can you quote my homeowner's insurance? The answer is, I'd love to. But if I ask Steven, it's like,
the drama.
if we want to generate good leads, we need to have that. And we need to make renewal calls because that's when you will find the most intentional cross sells.
Absolutely. Well, so cross sells, ding, ding, guys.
Number one way.
Number one way.
And it comes to retention. It solves a lot of other challenges.
How about number two? How about unsold quotes? Following up on
But Bobby, here's
quotes.
the thing. We only lose people that we don't like. That's it. We never lose anyone good. We only lose people that we don't like.
Bobby, we'd have to track those in order to go back after them.
We do. What if we had a way to put that in our agency management system so that we could follow up really easy next year and then just refresh our quote in our
So it's efficient.
Blasphemy. You want it documented in the system?
I know, shocking, right?
Here's the other thing though. People will be like, the only people we lose are people we don't want. And I'm like, okay, let's pull a lost business list. And then people are like, that person left? That person left? It's like eye-openingly shocking because lo and behold, generally like the staff isn't going to run to Steven and be like, Steven, hey, great news. We just lost Kelly's 8 policies. You're going to.
Well, and I think too, if we go back to the theory of the cross sell, if we put it and document it, then we go back after it, it's starting to show a trend to the client that we're paying attention. That
Absolutely.
and we're following a process that maybe their other agent isn't.
Yeah. I mean, I think
them at a time where they have a different pain point than they had before, or the rate has changed, or one of those other things.
Can I just say,
we might have been dealing with somebody at our agency that may no longer be with our agency anymore. And maybe
everybody loves everybody at the agency.
It's true. Here's the other thing too. If you are going to go back after last quotes, please watch your cancellation list, code them up front, but talk to that person when they're leaving. If Steven's leaving, I should call him right now so I can show I care. So that next year when I do call him again, he feels positive that I noticed that he left. I'm not just trying to sell him. But how many people leave an agency and we never talk to them? So how does that make you feel when you weren't recognized at all that you were leaving? I think that's something that has to be addressed. But a lot of times the lost business list is a good list to work. And even if you just call the top 20% of the lost business, that's still good leads that you've already paid for, right? And you already have their information. You know that they're good.
Yeah, I like that. And I mentioned the fact in the blog, and you guys will see this as you kind of read along. But, sometimes as agents, we like to follow the don't poke the sleeping bear because we don't want to know what's going on, right? We're afraid. Like, do you think our client forgot they're paying us every month?
They're not excited about it either. But they also, too, this is what happens. We pull the lost business list and it's like price, move, died, price, move, died. I was like, so we were perfect. There's nothing we could have done better. And you look at price and it's like, there's no reshop. They're just like literally, I found price cheaper. Okay, so we called those price. No, called those relationship. They didn't call you first. Like, let's be honest. We didn't build a big enough relationship where they knew to call us if they had a frustration. So that's not price. That's relationship. And I think when you and I worked at Cross on the lost policies, we had like price with a remarket, price, no remarket, which proved like, hey, if we remarketed and there was nothing better, okay, like we did everything we could. There's nothing, what more could we have done? Right. But if there was no remarket, why? And what does that look like?
Yeah, we know my favorite reason is insured request.
I think it's Oliver.
Insured request. I would hope somebody requested it.
I just canceled it for fun.
A lot of people were mean to me yesterday. Cancel.
Non-payment or insurance request.
Right. Those are the only 2 reasons we ever see. I think we need to just be diligent, dig a little bit deeper, guys, so that we know a true reason and we're really empowered to make better decisions for our agency.
It's okay if you made a mistake. Just be honest. You'll learn from it and you'll keep going. But when you ignore it, it has a way of coming out.
Absolutely.
So I would like to take just a second to clarify. We talked about calling quotes that we hadn't and
Calling-
inflation both kind of together. Similar
We
to-
did. We
Okay,
did.
so we're at 3 then.
We're at 3.
Yeah, so we're at
And
number
for those
2.
counting at home, I didn't want them to be like, there was only 2. No.
Yeah,
I
we
want
kind
my
of-
money back from
we
the
like
street
money.
podcast.
We
It was
grouped our
$3.50.
unsold quotes
I was gonna
and
get my $3.50 back.
That's right.
yeah, we kind of grouped our unsold quotes and our lost business all together, but similar ways of thinking about it, similar reasons, right? Sometimes we want to go back after things, sometimes we don't, as long as we're coding those things that we don't want to go back after.
I think as long as we're consistent on an outbound strategy, what I hate to see is producers that make those calls only when they need to, because you're not going to reap the same benefits. It's got to be a consistent, I do this when times are good, I do this when times are bad. That's how you're going to insulate those bad times. If you only prospect out of desperation as opposed to preparation, you're going to end up on the roller coaster.
Absolutely. And our sales training goes into all the ways to really install a sales process, not just a quoting process. So we'll make sure that you go out and check out that sales training for those that are doing the sales training. How about referrals?
Ooh. Bobby, I think I went above and beyond helping you today. Do you know anybody else that would also appreciate that same type of service?
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that.
Bobby, you call me every month to make your payment, and I love talking to you, but I would also love to talk to your friends and family. And you maybe have one of them call me so I can quote their insurance.
Yes. And I love that you mentioned that, Stephen, because I think a lot of times we forget that we can ask for referrals anytime we're doing a great job for the client. We don't have to wait till renewal or new business.
It's also not just a salesperson's thing.
Absolutely.
We are open for business and everybody can know that.
2 of the best referral partners I ever had. One was an 86-year-old lady who would call and then act surprised when I needed her routing and account number every month when she was calling to make her payment. She'd be like, let me go find my billfolds. And she'd be like, which one's the routing number again? And I'd be like, the 125 or 325. That's how it starts. And it's 9 digits. Then, and she'd be like, okay. And then I'd be like, I just love talking to you so much. And I understand you hate EFT. And I hate not insuring everybody you know. So maybe you could send me a referral. And after we got her 4 times, she literally would force people to call me.
Yeah.
She would probably dial the phone and be like, here's my phone, talk to Steven. But it was a great referral, right? And she
I
was-
love that.
Like, I will take your payment every day. Like,
Yeah.
you call me twice a month with payments. If you send me that many referrals.
Oh, you had a sugar mama.
I did. I had a referral sugar mama.
Well, especially because if our current customers are referring to us, most of the time they're like our current customers who already meet our agency standards. And so we
Great.
want to have other people like them that want to love us and like us and allow us to write their insurance too.
Here's the other component I think we sometimes miss too, which is if you are in commercial and you have certificate requesters, those are great to call your clients up and say, hey, Stephen, I see you work a lot with ABC air conditioning. I'd love to, maybe review their policy, make sure it's got the right coverages for you in it. Is there a way to make an introduction?
Yeah. Remember on those referrals too, we need to be impressive and following up promptly. So, and then thanking the person who referred to us.
Yes. Gratitude is an attitude.
I love that. And it also costs us $0 marketing dollars on our marketing budget. to
I
ask
love
for
$0
referrals.
marketing items.
I know. See, good job, Dudgy.
I'm cutting our marketing budget, guys. Ask for referrals more.
It'll be 40-50.
So how about centers of influence? Do you guys have any centers of influence you can get
I mean, you
advice on?
can kind of say that nice old lady that sent me all the referrals from the center of influence.
I think also I look at centers of influence of like if you have niches being involved in that community and associations where like if you can build your relationships and get on like the board of directors or like committees and things like that, you're just around all your peer groups and you're giving to get, which I think is huge. And I think so many times we forget about like the home builders association or the real estate association, or we go to one meeting and it's like, I didn't walk away with 75 leads. I'm not doing that again.
But consistency is the key.
It's the key. And it's also building up the relationships take time. And I think we forget like centers of influence are relationships. I just got a call from somebody the other day that says, hey, this client told me that you might be interested in our product. Did you know we have a revenue share? I'd love to have a meeting with you so that you could market my product to all these agents. I was like, too fast, bro, too fast. Like, and I said to them, I said, I'm happy to talk to you, but I just want to let you know, like, I don't really do revenue shares, because if you do a good job and you can help our clients, that's all I really care about. I don't care about the $37 check every month. That doesn't really get me out of bed in the morning. I care more about the fact that you're going to do a good job and I can motivate you. And he was like, that's refreshing. I'm like, are there a bunch of people out there that are happy to sign just like referral agreements? Like, I don't know. It's complicated at best. So I would just sort of keep on the idea of like centers of influence, associations. And a great way to go into the associations to get leads is offer to write a blog, offer to be on their podcast, offer to write an article in their newsletter. They're always looking for people. Always, always, always. And if you give to get, yes, it's a little bit of extra work, but imagine you get out to all the contractors in your state as an authority on insurance. Do you think you're going to write more of the right contractors? And a lot of those contractors will serve on those associations because they care about that community. And, it's just a great way to get your foot in the door.
Like, I did Chamber and Rotary for years. One of the first agencies I worked at, their idea of advertising was giving back. So like, they didn't have a marketing budget, but we always did Chamber, Rotary, all these different community events or the other things we could find. And sometimes it would take a while to build a relationship because people either didn't know what I did or I wasn't unique enough, I guess. Just kidding. But it would be like, sometimes it'd be like a year later, and someone would be like, every time I see you, you're smiling. You're always so happy. You're always so helpful. I see you at every event. What is it you do? And I'm like, well, and I took my little sales pitch about home, auto, business, whatever I was doing at the time with insurance. And they were like, well, I didn't know that. I would love to have an agent like you.
Yeah.
I can't always give back, but if you do, that makes me feel good just knowing you do.
Yeah. That's great. And I think it kind of goes back to what Kelly said earlier that, we can't expect to go one time to a Rotary meeting or to an association meeting. This is
thinking that.
Yeah, it's a plan that really takes a lot of diligence and time to build those networks. And so that's a way where you really have to be patient in building those relationships and fostering those relationships so that then you become that first person that they say, hey, oh, you need help with insurance? Call Steven.
Yeah.
Well, and I know this is going to go into your next one. I don't want to steal your new catchphrase. But like apartment building, I love renters is so easy to rent. Correct? Can we agree?
Agreed.
It's normally a minimum premium, not a lot of risk.
It really pays for itself with the
way for me to market anything else I want to them, including auto and whatever. I would go to apartment buildings or new apartments. And every month, on the same day, every month, I'd drop by with cookies or donuts or whatever. And it was just, again, that consistency thing until they were like, you come like every month. And I'm like, second Tuesday of every month, you're going to see this. You got any referrals for me?
But think about how like the glass people do it. The restoration, they just drop by and drop by and drop by and see their face. And then lo and behold, things happen. I think it's the laws of attraction, right? Mm-hmm. If you're aggressively waiting for the phone to ring, you're doing it wrong.
Yes, I agree. And so this goes to our last point of the old school way of 2 feet in a heartbeat, guys. Get out there, pound the pavement,
flesh.
Meet people. I think we've become so driven by technology that we've allowed Facebook and Instagram and Twitter to do our introductions, which is so impersonal. And people still buy from people that they like and that they know. And so we have to get back to basics.
We have to stop using COVID as an excuse.
I agree.
Let's stop using COVID as an excuse of like, well, during COVID, that's the problem.
Yeah. I think, it doesn't take as much time. The places that you go, take your business cards with you. Kelly and I were at an agency and man, their parking lot is completely full of cars all day, every day. I don't think I've ever been to an agency that has that many cars in the parking lot all day. And I told that
even in the pouring rain,
get your business cards and get out there and put them on those cars, right? Like there's still some of those old school marketing ways that we can tap into that are effective. And
I will also, every time I've gone out and tried to get the wiggles out with producers, say, let's just go do drop-bys, right? Sometimes people just need somebody to go with the first time. And we get in the car and everyone's caffeined up. And I'm like, okay, we're at an office building. You take floor 1, we'll take floor 2, you take floor 3, just go in and walk in. And they say, what if there's a sentence, no solicitations? Just say you're dropping by your card to go ahead and understand a little bit about their insurance. And lo and behold, people don't kick you out. They forgot that sign exists out there. Okay?
Absolutely.
Because if you're creepy and sketch and trying to sell artwork or flowers, it's a little different than if we're a professional acting in a professional way.
Well, you don't want my single rose?
Hey.
We had one agency that would have little bags of Hershey Kisses, and they'd come up to like the front desk and like, who do I need to kiss up to talk about their insurance? And then they'd be like, and be like, do you think you're paying too much for your home? And I'm like, lead in with personalized. Just crack the door. Who cares? But every single time we've done it, even for 90 minutes, every single person's walked away with a lead, an X day, like something. And we were talking about this beforehand. If you're in a position where you don't have to, don't want to, that's great. But every great salesperson I know still practices this once a month just to keep their tools sharpened, right? Like they're not too good to go out there, because if you're too good, then all of a sudden you'll need it. And we were just saying it like, I'm blessed in my career to be able to, generate enough opportunity for even others. But that doesn't mean that there's not going to be a day sometime where I'm going to have to make phone calls. So when I call and say, hi, how's it going? You'll know it's that day. But I think that there's a lot of tools that you can use today. I also think that people think it's a waste of time because it's not immediate gratification. We have to get out of the idea that lead generation is immediate gratification. That's why I opened up with the hot, sticky, sweaty, sultry, sexy leads that just are so ready to purchase. Sales professionals need to be filling the top of the funnel at all points in time. And that means patience. It also means your top clients are not going to just have their policies in their back pocket and be like, absolutely. Okay. We're so used to, I think Bobby's point too about technology, we're so used to that in that phone ringing that we have forgotten about the outbound side of things that to me is the most valuable, because I can control my pipeline and I can vet who I want to talk to. When that phone rings, I don't know if it's my brother on the other end of the phone that sometimes has insurance, sometimes pays his bill, sometimes has a license, or if it's somebody out there that's like Yeti calling one and say, I'm done with my insurance agent. Can you insure Yeti?
Mm-hmm. Send me a dock bowl and a cooler. We're good to go.
You're an easy, cheap day.
I appreciate you guys being here with me today. All of this to say, it's really our responsibility as salespeople to work on building a really consistent pipeline with a steady stream of prospects rather than doing the feast or famine, because it's really imperative to our long-term success. We do have our producer sales checklist. And if you haven't done the freemium content yet, go up, pull down that producer plan and fill in some of these great ideas that'll work for your plan. And we will see you in the next one.
Awesome. Thanks, Bobby.
Thanks, everybody.